I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self-empowerment. This is Third Eyesight. Happy July, everybody! I can't believe it's the 7th month of the year. We are officially in the second half of 2025, and it has been a year, y'all. This has not been a boring year, let me tell you, for many of us. So I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you are taking care of yourself the way that you need to. As you can tell, I've been wearing this silver chain necklace very often. ASMR, a little clinking clanking. For those of you on video watching me on YouTube, you can see the silver necklace. It's in the thumbnail, it's part of the video, and I feel like it's become part of my uniform now to wear this necklace. I got it as a gift for my birthday, my 33rd birthday in May, and I've just been cherishing it. And I like to think that when I wear it, it grounds me. Now, it is not a light necklace. It is a little heavy. And it's also silver, I don't know, very earthy to me. So I'm wearing it now as part of my uniform when I do the podcast. And it just feels extremely grounding. And I could always use some grounding, can't we all? Now, I have been going to Reddit recently. And I think Reddit is such a great way to get ideas for topics for the podcast, because there is a mediums Reddit subgroup, and there are just so many people asking questions, giving their thoughts, and there's this very simple question that someone put up, and what I'm going to do is read their question to the mediums subreddit, and then I'm going to read a few of the responses, and I have not read these yet, so you're getting my first time reaction, and then I'm going to give you my answer to the question. So, it looks like this was posted in June of this year, and the user is Kyrie Ocean on the Mediums subreddit, and it says, "To mediums, what is the strangest message or thing that has happened to you while channeling spirit or talking to someone on the other side? I'm very curious about those messages that maybe you understood later in life, or that just stays a mystery." So I'm going to read a couple of responses, maybe 2 or 3. Weird Rip 2834 says, "A number of years ago, I was hiking with my dog in a part of San Francisco that used to be a military base, now a park. Someone commanded me to, quote, get out, close quote. I turned around, spoke loud to the thin air, and told that a-hole what year it was and that civilians were allowed now. But I did not stay to see if he agreed. Honestly, what a bleep. More spirits were stuck in residences around the area of the centuries-old military base. It's known to be an active area. I tried to make one bossy one move out of my garage, but he only went behind the tree in the backyard. He was sweet and from a very long time ago. He was more than a voice and shimmered in the sunlight. Enjoy!" Sparkle, evil eye, emoji. All right, let me randomly scroll. Let's see. I'm not going to... Well, their username is Psychic B Hotline. The B stands for another word. Psychic B Hotline. You know I curse on this podcast, but some words I'm like, let me be a little bit gentle with these words. So, Psychic B Hotline says, "A client of mine's son was murdered. The kid came through showing himself wearing black high-top Converse All-Star sneakers. The dad said this didn't resonate because his son wore trainers. He texted me a week later after having gone to the pre-trial hearing, during which he saw a CCTV video right before the murder, which showed his son wearing black high-top Converse All-Stars. It gave my client validation that his son was actually coming through, despite seeming nonsensical at the time. Never discount messages that you get. Just relay the information without filtering it. You never know why you're seeing or hearing what they're showing you." Ain't that the truth? Just express what comes to you, fellow mediums, even if it sounds crazy, as long as you're being respectful and gentle. One more response. Let's see. Okay. This is by Queen Mabah, Maebh, Queen Mabah. Sorry if I butchered the name. A few years ago, I lived in an apartment building that was perched on top of a bluff that used to be open space. When I first moved in, the lights in my apartment, or the whole building, or the streetlights outside would occasionally flicker or blink off, and sometimes the power would go out for a few minutes. It was summertime, so I assumed it was something related to the strong winds or frequent thunderstorms that my town always experienced. That was until one night I was in bed reading when I felt a presence near my small one, I guess. There's a typo. And what I saw was this creature that could not even see over the top of my bed with pointy ears, and I kid you not, it just reminded me of Dobby from Harry Potter, except a little uglier. A little uglier. I thought to myself, holy shit, I think I've seen a fairy. Turns out he was the land spirit for that area until the apartments got built and he was obviously pissed. So to exact his revenge, he was making the lights to go out and generally cause chaos. I didn't blame him. I thought this was hilarious, but obviously didn't want my power to be continuously going out randomly, so I struck a deal with him and offered to transport him to a nearby wild space where I knew it would never be developed. The husband was seriously skeptical that I was driving to a nearby trailhead to transport a fairy, but that's exactly what I did, and we never lost power at our apartment complex after that. That's quite the story. And I personally don't believe in fairies. However, whatever floats people's boat. Whatever floats the boat. Now, as for my own strangest mediumship experience, one is coming to mind, but I want to make sure there isn't another one. Maybe I'll share two of them. One is bizarre, and one is actually quite beautiful. So, the first one that's bizarre, the experience that I had, I'm going to call it a mediumship experience because I felt like I was channeling something. So, a couple years ago, a dear friend of mine who runs the mediumship circle that I go to every Tuesday or every other Tuesday night, she scheduled a separate meditation circle or like a meditation journey circle. And the purpose of it was to just go into meditation, but say whatever comes to you, share whatever comes to you. And I remember I was getting a bunch of visuals about eco-terrorism. And that's the word I used. And what that looked like to me was I saw in London a young woman with color dyed hair that was like an auburn red or something very, very noticeable, which is kind of ironic because she was being kind of secretive. She had a secret. And it was to make a statement about the Earth's environment and the planet's health by causing a shock in public. Nothing violent, but just a shock to like a bridge that wasn't used or something, making a ruckus, but for the purpose of bringing awareness to climate change and protecting the planet. And I'm not saying that with any judgment, good or bad. That's just what I saw. And I remember, and that's not the bizarre part, by the way. I'm getting to that part. This was all on the same night. But just a side note, a month or two later, people started throwing paint at famous paintings, splattering paint on famous paintings like the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I remember having this vision during this meditation of people doing things that were disruptive to bring awareness to climate change. Thought that was interesting. Now, the bizarre part of that night was a little later. I'm sitting at my desk in front of my computer on Zoom for this meditation circle. And as I'm meditating, and we're all sharing what's coming through, we start to feel extraterrestrial energy. Now, before this, I would have told you, people feeling ET energy, that's a little cuckoo. But the universe, spirit knows how to kick me in the butt and stick my foot in my mouth because it felt very real what I experienced. And I'm actually facing the wall that I was facing in this video that you're watching on YouTube. So to my right, in the corner that I'm looking at right now in my room as I'm speaking to you on this episode, with my mind's eye, my eyes closed, but my mind's eye, I remember seeing this huge being of black or like dark texture. It had a dark color to it. And it was shaped like a huge, thick letter T. Like the head was had a horizontal orientation to it, and the bottom, like below the head, was just a vertical, straight vertical body. The body was straight and vertical below this horizontally oriented head, like a T shape, a big T shape of a being, thick, very thick. And I remember getting nervous as I was seeing this in my mind's eye. Like I felt something in the room. So much so that I opened my eyes to look at the corner of my room. Remember, I was seeing this being with my mind's eye, with my eyes closed. Like I just had this awareness of something in the corner of my room. And I opened my eyes like, is there really something there? I'm like, there's nothing there. But I feel something. And I told the group that this is what I was seeing. And the facilitator of the group said, I think I'm feeling what you're feeling. I can sense the energy. Just breathe through it. And I told them I'm honestly kind of scared. Like I know it's not here to hurt me, but I feel scared. And they just guided me to breathe through it, send it light, surround myself in light. And since then, I have never felt or seen that being again. But it felt extremely real. And I don't know if my mind was playing tricks on me. I have no idea. But that being felt very powerful. Now, I call that a mediumship experience because felt like I was channeling something. That being was something otherworldly, something that was not of this planet. It didn't look like anything I've ever seen on this planet yet. That was bizarre. Very bizarre. My other story is just a very, very beautiful experience. And I won't call it... It's strange, I guess, because it was one of my first times channeling as a medium. And it was just such a shock how cool it was. And I'll just call it strange because it just made me and my friend go, wait, what? So my friend Natalie Namaste, whom you've all heard on the podcast, I had my first mediumship experience was with her, for her, channeling one of her friends. And the next time we saw each other in person after that was around Halloween time, I think. And I was in her home. She had been living with her family at the time. And her home, it has a lot of energy. And I won't go into detail about it, but there's a lot of energy in her home. But her room was right in the smack dab middle of her home, and it was the clearest energy for me. It was like the home was like this big sandwich, and her room was the meat where there was the least dense energy. It felt great in her room. And she asked me, can we channel my friend? And we started sitting down and holding hands and just asking James if he can come through and seeing what I got. And I started telling her, I feel like I'm at the level of someone's shoes, like I'm under a bench. And I see this gray cat. Did he have a gray cat? She goes, yes. And I said, do shoes mean anything? She goes, yes. And she goes to her closet, which is like 7 feet away from us, and takes out one of his boots that she kept. And I thought that was strange. I think it's still kind of strange, but in a beautiful way. It was like so bizarre, so bizarre. I'll never forget that experience. And she asked me, oh, no, wait, y'all. Wait, I just totally messed up my own story. Wait, it's in the reverse. So first, I asked about the boots. Okay, wait. Wow, I totally messed up my own story. Rewind. The boots. I got the boots first. I thought something about shoes felt important, and she brought out his boot. And then we did psychometry. That's what it is. We did psychometry. She asked me, do you want to touch the boot or hold the boot and see what you get? And I did. I mentioned, did he have a gray cat? And she goes, yes. I think I said, did he have a cat? Yes. Was it gray? Yes. And that was bizarre. It was all bizarre. It was all so new to me. The ET story is really the strange mediumship experience for this episode. This other story was just strange and bizarre at the moment, but it ended up being such a beautiful experience. And it just goes to show that mediumship, there's such a range of what mediumship can mean or look like. There's so many different ways to be a medium. There's so many different ways to receive information from spirit, the other side, apparently other planets and galaxies. And we have to be open-minded and open to how it comes through for us. And what may be strange to one person may be really normal to the next person. I can't tell you the amount of people I've been in the same Zoom room with who say they can communicate with extraterrestrials and aliens. And yet for me, that was like bizarre. I keep using the word bizarre. How bizarre? It was bizarre. But for most of those people who are used to this kind of work, it's quite normal. So don't judge yourself. The lesson of the day is don't judge yourself for experiencing what you experience. If it feels true to you, if it feels safe, if it feels like it's healing, if it feels like it's helping you grow, helping someone else grow, lean into that and be open to it and don't judge it. So that's my Reddit-inspired episode for today. What is your strangest spiritual experience? Tell me in the comments on YouTube or email me. I want to hear your strange supernatural experience. I want to read it for everyone to hear. And you can be anonymous. You can stay anonymous if you want to. And just a reminder, if you want to join a free mediumship group session with me for the podcast, recorded for the podcast, audio and video, please go to juanfranciscospirit.com/podcast group. Give me your first name and your email and submit the form. Very simple. Just to let me know you're interested. And when I set up that group mediumship session and schedule it, you will be the first to hear about it. And with that, I leave you to a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Take care. Follow the podcast and please leave a review. If you want me to talk about a specific subject on the podcast or you have a question for the podcast, go to juanfranciscospirit.com and go to my contact page and submit that question.